Record a conference call for NASA with Miss Linda Ham as the leader, scheduled Friday, January 17th at 7:50 a.m. Weather Office.
We're on.
OSF Action Center.
Good morning, we're here.
Alex McCool.
Here.
Colonel Jim Halsall.
Yeah, we're here.
EMSR.
Good morning, we're on.
Mike Key.
We're here.
John. Mike Fuller.
Mike Fuller's here.
Scott Southwell.
Good morning.
Jack Keifenheim.
ASC payload processing is here.
John Hamill.
We're here.
Thank you. And Ms. Ham, at this time, I'd just like to inform all parties that today's call is being recorded. If you have any objections, you may disconnect. Thank you. You may begin.
Okay, and good morning, and welcome to the first STS-107 MMT. We're going to start with MOD. Great launch yesterday, and I'm sure everyone's real excited about getting on orbit here and finally getting underway with this science mission. We have Phil here for MOD.
Okay. Everything seems to be going great. The crew is pretty much on the timeline. Late yesterday, we let them sleep in an hour, and we shifted the red sleep time an hour later to go along with that, but got them back up at the regular time, and we're back on the pre-flight timeline as far as the sleep cycle is concerned. And that had actually been discussed pre-flight with the crew because we anticipate this on the day one thrash of getting everything put together.
Those folks?
Blue team is the PLT
team.
Red team is the commander's team. Blue team is the first one to go to sleep. And as far as the rest of the timeline, like I say, the crew is essentially on the timeline from the payload standpoint. We wound up a little bit high in altitude. AOS times are going to shift about a minute a day later, and we're taking that into account with the trajectory with the ephemeris and getting the comm stuff all up to accomplish that. Everything seems to be going well with a couple of minor operations. We appear to be getting good KU band data to the ground, but we're having trouble processing some of the Space Hab experiment data. Channel 2, we think it's an EDSMU problem, and they worked on that a little last night. That's box here on the ground in the public. They worked on that a little bit last night and didn't make too much headway. They're starting troubleshooting again this morning. We think this is a payload-provided equipment problem. We're whatever resources we can apply, but we think it's in Space Hab's hands.
Okay, so you think the box is one that's in the pack that we usually don't use because it's provided by the customer?
Right.
Okay.
And our functionality of the KU band 2 coming down to the ground appears to be good.
Okay. Right, it's their EGDA, it's their data accept grabbing unit on the ground. It's in their box. Here in the MCC. Correct. Okay. There's some folks coming in to help troubleshoot.
The HAB team is working on that. We've got people available to help them, but we're not sure what we can do for them right now.
Right. There's one MOD expert, Krasik, who's going to come in and help them out.
Okay.
We did a test on all that stuff, right? Yes, we did. We did testing. Pre-launch testing. We did ESFL testing. We did IVT at the Cape. We did our pre-ascent VERVAL. We did the VERVAL. Everything checked out at that time. So it's probably a configuration problem somewhere between the network and getting to the box itself. But they're going to work on it today.
Yeah, I think the next step was they have a data tape that they used as part of the VERVAL that they were going to play through the system today here on the ground to make sure it's still working the way we thought it was working when we verified it.
Okay.
Let's see, last thing just before we came in, we did the Cryo O2 heater sensor check, and tank 7 on the cryo pallet, O2 tank 7, apparently the A heater did not work in the manual switch position. We do still have the B heater. I don't know if they've been able to verify yet whether that heater will come on in the auto position. I don't think we've been trying to use that tank yet, so they just discovered this. And the Eagles are going to go off and work out both a troubleshooting plan and possibly move up the priority of using up that tank if we're down to a single heater. But otherwise, everything seems to be doing pretty good. The crew's moving along and sounds great, at least from what we can tell operationally.
Did you say you did see the B heater cycle and it's okay?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. We'll
That's all I've got to report.
Okay. Back on the KU Channel 2, what's the impact, Vanessa? We're looking at that, Linda. Right now, all of the payloads have been activated that were planned, and we have received all of the data. We had to do some rescheduling last night, but all of the heaviest user doesn't come online for another 36 hours. So maybe it'll fix the problem by then. The good news that we just found out was that they do have onboard recording capability. So they're not going to lose the data. It's just we'll have dropouts when the data comes down to the ground.
And the recorded data that we seem to bring down on Channel 3, I think, seems to be good. Looks okay.
Yeah. All right. Good. Murr.
Okay, we're tracking a couple problems down there, and one of them is a failure of the ICOM B in the space. And I don't know if we know exactly where that problem is, whether or not it's on the orbiter side or the HAB payload side there. But and the other, Phil just mentioned this O2 Tank 7A, and that's first that we had heard of that is on the way up here. So I don't have anything on that one right now. Yeah. But the one item that we talked the most about here this morning is an occurrence we saw in AC2 Phase B, which we're calling it a sluggish current response that was seen during the operation of three different motors. The first time it shows up in the data is when vent doors 8 and 9 motor, it's on motor 2. When they were opened pre-launch, that sequence starts running at T-minus 31 seconds. But when those motors were opened, you see a normal response in phases A and C. But in phase B, you see sort of an initial spike, like the motor's about to run, and then the current slumps down for a few seconds and then recovers. So we saw that we saw that shortly after we got on orbit, and we thought we might have had a motor problem or just, we were evaluating that one. But then when we went to open payload bay doors and deploy the KU band, we also saw essentially the same signature on the KU band deploy motor 2 and the port payload bay door motor 2. And all of these are, the same sort of signature on AC2 Phase B. So we're off looking at trying to find the commonality between, these three events. Obviously three different motors, but there are also three different MCAs, three different circuit breakers. They're all on panel MA73 Charlie, some relatively close together in location, the circuit breakers on that panel. So the bottom line is, at this point in time, we've really not, and we've not, the problem's not manifested itself anywhere else. We're not seeing it in voltages. We've not been able to isolate, the problem to a particular cause.
Are there any other pieces of hardware that have operated off the same circuit breaker?
Yeah, there's other hardware that's operated off the same circuit breaker and operated nominally. This one's kind of a head scratcher at the moment. So
the data somehow?
Well, we thought, could it be, the sensor? The sensor does seem to be the one thing that's common, but when this occurs, on one of the occurrences, you see when the current is sluggish, you see an increase on the other two phases. So it doesn't seem to be instrumentation, right? It does seem to be a real event. So, and apparently an intermittent real event. So anyway, with all that, there's no impact that we see. Obviously, the motors run fine on two phases, provided we got the other good motor, which is what we've got here. So we don't see any impact, but we'll continue to evaluate, obviously. But I think that's all I've got on that one, Linda.
All righty.
That's it.
And we have the radiators deployed, right?
The port radiator, if I remember right, is deployed. Correct.
Okay. Do we leave it there the whole mission?
I believe that's right.
Okay.
That's it.
See, Vanessa. Linda, as I said before, the Space Hab payloads, they're all operating nominally. Great science, and Freestar as well, operating nominally. They're just ecstatic as to the science that they're receiving. And no issues we're working other than just KUs. All right, flight crew.
No issues, Linda. The crew's doing fine, good health, and they're glad to be on orbit.
Spaceflight science?
Yeah, we're in good shape.
Okay. Integration?
Let's see, on a quick look post-flight report, ascent is very nominal. There's no indications for boat hang-ups during liftoff. The only item was SRBs were slightly hotter than predicted, but that's, a normal occurrence. The throttle bucket was also nominal. That's it.
Okay. So we even had hot SRBs even with the adjustment that we made pre-launch?
Yeah.
Okay. Interesting. Lauren?
Nothing from the Mission Control Center here. During the SRB recovery, it looks like one of the forward skirts, the left-hand forward skirt, probably some buckling damage. They may have more words on that when we get to the Cape, but that's the only thing so far. It was a previously repaired forward skirt from previous damage.
Okay. We'll see what Cape or Marshall has to say. Shuttle processing?
Good morning. Yes, both SRBs are in tow as of yesterday afternoon. I was aware of that buckling evidence on the forward skirt, and it has been passed on to Marshall. And we're expecting the SRBs to be back at KFC later this afternoon, and we'll be ready for open assessment on Monday morning. And the pad post-launch inspections and film reviews reveal no significant findings to date. And that's all I had.
Okay. Randy Siegert?
Well, you got Randy and Wayne here this morning, and we just want to report everybody's all smiles here.
That's good. Marshall projects?
Nothing this morning. Everything looked nominal, and to the best of our knowledge, there's no potential IFAs.
Okay. Safety?
Nothing, Linda.
All right.
One last, I forgot to
Okay.
report your cryo margin. We're at about 22 hours margin right now. Cryo with power level was about 3 kW below the predicts yesterday. So we'll see where that goes.
Why do you think that is? Because of the HAB or because of the payload?
It's a little hard to differentiate. It's all on one bus going back there. So I think we'll probably have to watch it for a day or two and see how it stabilizes.
Because if the HAB, it's going to be beneficial on 13.8.1 and 12.8.1. That would be great.
Now, some of those systems aren't common. This is the research double module as opposed to the passive module.
Right.
So there is since this is the first time a lot of that equipment has run, I don't know, but I guess it's reasonable to make a guess that maybe we're overestimating on the power draw for some of the equipment the first time around, and once we get some flight history on it, we'll be a little smarter.
Okay. I know that the customer isn't going to want another day because we've been through that pre-launch.
Yeah.
They want to land after 16 days.
Yeah, 3 kW.
Okay, thanks for your support. Our next MMT is going to be 8 o'clock on Tuesday. We're trying to avoid the holiday for those who have Monday for a holiday. So Tuesday, 8 o'clock, same place. Thank you.